Under the scorching studio lights, Donald Trump strutted onto the stage with cocky, only for Barack Obama to sit back with that ice-cold smile and systematically tear apart Trump's loud, blustering act, exposing his fake tough guy armor, his endless lies, and his pathetic family shield, until Trump was reduced to a red-faced, sweating, screaming wreck. The studio lights burned hot and bright overhead, turning the stage into a pressure cooker. The moderator walked out to the center, microphone in hand, and grinned at the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what might be the most important conversation of the year. Please welcome former President Barack Obama and President Donald J. Trump. The applause hit like thunder. Trump came out first from the right side, chest out, chin up, waving like he already owned the room. He wore a sharp dark suit and that familiar smirk, moving with the confidence of a man who'd never lost a battle in his own mind. On the left, Obama stepped in slower, calm and collected, but his eyes locked on Trump right away, sharp, focused, like he was already 3 moves ahead. No big wave, just a small nod to the crowd. The contrast hit everyone instantly. One guy looked ready to brawl, the other looked like he was here to end it. They shook hands quickly under the lights, firm but cold, then took their seats across from each other with just a small table between them. The moderator stepped back and kicked things off. Gentlemen, simple question to start. What does real leadership look like in America today? Trump didn't even wait a full second. He leaned forward fast, voice booming across the studio. Real leadership is results, folks. It's winning. It's building big things, creating jobs, and making America strong again. Not endless talk, not fancy speeches that go nowhere. You act fast, you hit hard, and you get the job done. That's how I did it for 4 years, and that's what people want. The crowd reacted immediately. Some cheered, some muttered. Obama sat back, listening with that slight smile on his face, then shook his head just a little, almost like he felt sorry for the answer. That small move sent a ripple through the audience. People started whispering louder, shifting in their seats. You could already tell the gloves were off. Trump kept going, pointing a finger for emphasis. Weak leadership hides behind words. Strong leadership delivers. Period. The moderator tried to steer things back, but Trump wasn't having it. He jumped right back in, voice rising with that familiar fire. Real leadership isn't complicated, folks. It's moving fast, getting results people can see. I built skyscrapers, created thousands of jobs, and made this country respected again. Winning. That's what matters. You don't sit around writing memos and giving pretty speeches. You act. You deliver. That's how you lead. He pointed straight across the table at Obama, eyes locked on. And let's be honest, some people talk a whole lot but deliver very little. All those big promises, all those fancy words, and what do we get? Not much. Too much talk. Not enough action. That's not leadership. That's weakness. The crowd stirred. Some clapped hard, others groaned. Obama didn't fire back right away. He just nodded slowly, then turned to the moderator with a calm, steady look. Could we show that short clip, please? The one from 2016, where President Trump promised to release his tax returns and fix the infrastructure in his first 100 days. The big screen behind them lit up. The old footage played. Trump at a rally, pointing at the crowd, saying those exact words with total confidence. The clip was only 30 seconds, but it hit like a punch. When it ended, the studio fell quiet for a beat. Obama leaned forward, voice even and clear. Leadership isn't just about action, Donald. It's about building trust. Real trust. That means keeping your word even when it's hard. It means serving the people who voted for you and the ones who didn't. Because when you only take care of your own side, you're not leading a country. You're dividing it. Trump's face tightened. He cut in loud and sharp before Obama could finish another sentence. Don't sit there and lecture me about talk. Don't say swang. You spent 8 years talking while the world laughed at us. At least when I act, things get done. His voice boomed across the stage. The audience split. Cheers on one side, loud boos on the other. Phones went up everywhere. Obama stayed completely still, letting the noise settle for a second. Then he looked Trump dead in the eyes and answered, calm but cutting. Action without responsibility is just disguised violence, Donald. You can swing hard and break things, but if you never stop to fix what you broke or answer for it, you're not strong. You're reckless. That's not leadership. That's chaos wearing a suit. The room erupted. Half the audience jumped to their feet, clapping wildly. The other half shouted back, some booing, some yelling, "Let him speak!" The noise rolled through the studio like a wave. Security shifted nervously near the front rows. Trump's jaw clenched tight. He leaned in closer, pointing again, but the moderator quickly stepped in to keep things from boiling over. Even so, the damage was done. The first real clash had landed, and everyone could feel the temperature rising fast. Trump looked fired up, ready to hit back harder. Obama sat back, still composed, but his eyes showed he was just getting started. The audience buzzed louder now, leaning forward in their seats. This wasn't a debate anymore. It was turning into a showdown. Trump shook his head with a sharp laugh, but it didn't sound amused. You want to play clips? Fine. We'll play all night if that's what it takes. Obama gave a small, knowing smile, the kind that said he had plenty more where that came from. The moderator shifted the topic, trying to cool things down a bit. Gentlemen, let's talk about something more personal. How does family shape the way a leader makes decisions? Trump jumped on it right away, leaning forward with real pride in his voice. Family is everything. It's my fuel. It's my legacy. Everything I do is for my kids, for my name, for the future I'm building for them. A strong leader protects his family no matter what. That loyalty gives you strength. It shows character. When you stand by your blood, you show the world you stand for something real. I've always put family first, and that's why I fight so hard. Nobody's taking that away from me. He sat back, chest puffed out, clearly satisfied with his answer. A good chunk of the audience clapped and nodded along. Obama listened quietly, then gave a small nod. Family is important. No one's arguing that. It shapes who we are, the values we carry, and the drive we bring to the job. Most leaders draw real strength from their loved ones. He paused, letting the agreement settle. Then his tone changed, growing quieter but sharper. But loyalty can't become a shield that hides the truth. When family loyalty stops you from facing facts or holding people accountable, it stops being strength and starts becoming a weakness. In public office, you don't get to pick and choose who answers for their actions, not even family. The room got noticeably quieter. Trump's smile faded. Obama looked straight at him and asked the question that froze the entire studio. Donald, who is Barron's mother? A heavy silence dropped over the crowd. Trump stared at Obama, caught completely off guard. His mouth opened slightly, but nothing came out right away. People in the audience held their breath. Phones stopped moving. The question hung in the air like smoke. Obama didn't raise his voice. He stayed calm and continued. This isn't about digging into your personal life. It's about the bigger point. When leaders hide behind family as a shield, it creates this perfect picture of loyalty. But that same shield can block the hard truths. Real leadership means you don't get to use family as an excuse to avoid accountability. Loyalty is good, but it can't replace honesty. Trump finally snapped back, face flushed. What kind of question is that? You're crossing a line. Before the tension could explode further, the moderator raised a hand. Gentlemen, we have someone who would like to speak on this. Live from a secure location, a former senior aide to President Trump. A large screen behind them lit up. A middle-aged man in a dark suit appeared, looking nervous but determined. I worked closely with the president for years, the aide said. There were times when clear mistakes were made involving family members. We all knew it was wrong, but the order came down to protect them anyway. Blood first, he said, even when it hurt the country or broke the rules. I saw it happen more than once. The words landed hard. Gasps and murmurs swept through the audience. Trump shot up halfway out of his chair, pointing at the screen. That's a lie. Total lie. This guy was fired, he's bitter, and he's making things up to get attention. Fake news! His voice boomed with anger, but the damage was already spreading. The crowd was split, some shouting in support, others demanding the aid continue. Obama sat perfectly still, watching Trump's reaction with that same steady gaze. The moderator barely had time to speak before Trump exploded back into the conversation, face red and voice booming with raw anger. You're nothing but a smooth-talking theoretician, Obama. All theory, no real-world guts. You sit there acting like some wise professor while the rest of us actually got things done. You talk about trust and accountability, but your own administration was full of leaks and scandals. Spare me the lectures. He slammed a hand on the small table between them for emphasis. The crowd roared, half cheering him on, half booing loudly. The energy in the studio jumped another notch. Obama waited for the noise to dip, then nodded to the moderator. Let's put something concrete on the screen. This is an internal memo dated from early in President Trump's term. He personally signed it. The big screen lit up again. The document appeared clearly, Trump's signature at the bottom, outlining instructions to handle quietly and protect family interests first regarding a known issue involving a relative. The words, "loyalty above all," were highlighted in bold. Gasps rippled through the audience. Trump shot halfway out of his chair, pointing furiously at the screen. That's taken out of context. You're twisting everything. The moderator quickly stepped between them. Gentlemen, please stay seated. Let's keep this civil. Trump slowly sat back down, but his eyes were blazing. Obama never raised his voice. He stayed calm, almost gentle, but every word landed like a knife. When loyalty crosses the line and becomes more important than truth, leadership turns dangerous, Donald. You can protect your family. That's human. But when that protection means covering up mistakes that affect the public, when it means bending rules for your own blood, then power stops serving the country. It starts serving you. That's not strength. That's a trap. The studio fell into a heavy hush. Trump opened his mouth to hit back, but Obama kept going, steady and relentless. Real leaders don't get to hide behind family loyalty when things get uncomfortable. The public deserves better. They deserve honesty, even when it hurts. Suddenly, a man in the middle of the audience stood up fast, his voice cutting through the tension like a gunshot. He's right. I worked on that issue too. I saw it happen. This isn't theory, it's the truth. The crowd erupted. People jumped to their feet. Shouts broke out from every direction. Sit down! Let him speak! Cameras swung toward the man. Security rushed in from the sides, grabbing the anonymous witness and quickly escorting him toward the exit while he kept yelling. The chaos lasted only 30 seconds, but it felt electric. Phones flashing, people standing, the whole room vibrating with shock. Trump looked rattled for a split second, his usual swagger cracking. He recovered fast, leaning forward with a sharp laugh that didn't sound real. You planted that guy, didn't you? This whole thing is rigged. Obama simply shook his head, eyes locked on Trump. No plants, Donald, just facts. And the American people are smart enough to see them. The moderator tried to regain control, but the fire was already raging. The audience was fully awake now, buzzing louder than ever. Trump gripped the arms of his chair tightly, breathing hard. Obama sat back, still composed, but the message was clear. He wasn't backing down an inch. The tension in the studio was thick enough to choke on. Obama paused, letting the silence stretch until every eye in the room was locked on him. He looked Donald Trump straight in the face, no smile, no hesitation, and delivered the line that stopped the entire world for a second. Arrest this man for incest. The words hit like a bomb. The audience gasped loud and sharp. A few people actually cried out. Trump froze in his chair, face going pale, eyes wide with pure shock. For the first time all night, he looked completely lost. Obama didn't shout. His voice stayed calm and steady. This isn't a random attack, Donald. We have evidence, we have witnesses. When family loyalty turns into a cover for crimes that destroy lives, leadership doesn't just fail, it becomes criminal. The American people deserve to know the truth you've been hiding behind that shield. Before Trump could even respond, the big screen behind them flashed on again. A second witness, a family insider who had worked directly with the Trump inner circle, appeared live, face blurred for protection, but voice clear and steady. "I saw it firsthand," the insider said. There were multiple incidents involving family members that were covered up. Payments made, threats issued, records buried, all because family comes first. One case in particular involved serious allegations that should have been investigated by authorities, but the order was to make it disappear. Loyalty was used as a weapon. Trump's face turned ghostly white. He lunged forward, trying to shout over the feed. "Turn that off. This is fake. Rigged." His microphone suddenly cut out for a few seconds, leaving him gesturing wildly in silence while the witness kept talking. The audience was in total chaos. Screams, shouts, people standing up all over the room. When Trump's mic came back on, he exploded, voice cracking with rage. "You set this up. This is a total witch hunt. You and your deep state friends are trying to destroy me with lies." He pointed furiously at Obama, spit flying as he yelled, "Dan Dung, all of it staged." Obama calmly raised his hand and the moderator played one more short video clip. It showed Trump in a private meeting years earlier, caught on tape saying, "Protect the family no matter what. I don't care what it takes." The clip was only 15 seconds, but it hit like a hammer. Trump kept screaming, louder and more desperate. "That's edited! Fake news! You're a liar, Obama!" Every time he tried to fight back, Obama dropped another calm, devastating reply backed by the evidence on screen. The contrast was brutal. One man raging and unraveling, the other sitting steady, slicing through the defense with facts. The breaking point came fast. Trump slammed both fists on the table so hard the glasses rattled. He shot up from his chair, face twisted in fury, and roared at the top of his lungs. "I'm not here to be insulted like this. This is a disgrace. I'm done." The entire audience erupted. Half the room jumped to their feet, clapping and cheering wildly. The other half booed and shouted, some throwing insults back. Phones were everywhere, lights flashing like crazy. Security moved in quickly as Trump stormed toward the edge of the stage, still yelling over his shoulder. The noise was deafening. Trump stormed off the stage without another word, his heavy footsteps pounding across the floor. The side door slammed shut behind him with a loud, echoing bang that reverberated through the entire studio like a gunshot. The sound hung in the air for several long seconds. The room fell into a stunned, heavy silence. No one moved. Cameras stayed locked on the empty chair where Trump had been sitting just moments ago. Obama remained seated, hands resting calmly on his lap. He didn't smile. He didn't look triumphant. He simply leaned forward slightly and spoke in a low, steady voice that somehow carried to every corner of the studio. Real leadership doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to hide behind family, behind loyalty, or behind anger. Real leadership requires the courage to face even the people you love when they're wrong. That's the hardest part. And that's the part that actually matters. The words settled over the audience like a heavy blanket. A few people wiped their eyes. Others sat completely still, absorbing what they had just witnessed. The moderator stepped forward, voice a little shaky after the chaos. "Mr. President, what do you make of what just happened here tonight?" Obama looked directly into the camera, then slowly scanned the room. His tone stayed calm but carried real weight. Unchecked power will always destroy itself in the end. When a leader starts believing the rules don't apply to him or his family, when loyalty becomes more important than truth, the whole system begins to rot. I've seen it before. History is full of it. He paused, then nodded to the moderator. "One last thing before we finish. The second witness we heard from tonight told me something in private last week. President Trump once said to him, word for word, I don't care if it's illegal. Family protects family. End of discussion. That wasn't said in anger. It was said as policy. The entire studio went dead silent. You could hear people breathing. No gasps this time, just pure, shocked quiet. The final piece of evidence landed harder than anything else all night. Then the applause started. It began soft and scattered, then grew louder and stronger until it filled the whole room. People rose from their seats one by one. Soon nearly everyone was standing, clapping hard. Some cheered, some looked emotional. The sound rolled like thunder. Obama stood up slowly, gave a small, respectful nod to the audience, and offered a brief bow. He didn't raise his hands in victory. He simply stood there, letting the moment speak for itself. As the cameras pulled back, the giant screen behind him faded to black, with one simple white question displayed in bold letters. When does real leadership die? The words stayed on screen as the applause continued. The studio lights stayed bright. The weight of everything that had happened lingered in the air long after the feed cut. Trump was gone. The shield had cracked wide open, and in the quiet that followed the storm, one thing felt crystal clear to everyone watching. The night had changed something deep in the country's conversation about power, family, and truth.